This case is one of the worst intoxication manslaughters. It's on video where he plows into Mr. Addison, who's at a stoplight on a motorcycle, and while trying to get away, runs over him and the motorcycle again. I think the best we can do at this point is this man spent 50 years in prison where he cannot hurt anybody else due to his own selfish decisions.
And the fact that you are truly saying that you think you touched something and got PCP when you have had PCP cases over and over and over again, and you're on parole and you kill someone. It's a nightmare.
Today we're in Judge West's courtroom, and we've got a defendant who genuinely believes that the world revolves around him. This man has no care for anyone else besides himself, and every decision he makes just proves it. He's selfish, reckless, and honestly the walking definition of the criminal with a trail of chaos behind him. What makes this case even worse is that the consequences he's facing now should have hit him a long time ago. The system gave him chance after chance, and all he did was use those chances to hurt more people. Now the bill finally came due, and it's tragic that it took a loss of life to get us here. Do you think the system failed the victim long before this hearing even started? Let's go ahead and dive in.
Good morning. Are you Christopher James?
Yes, ma'am.
And Mr. James was previously in court, entered a plea of guilty to the first-degree felony offense of intoxication manslaughter with a vehicle. I've received the pre-sentence report and also a supplemental memorandum from probation that includes several letters from the victim's family members. Has everyone had an opportunity to review all of that?
Yes, we have, Your Honor.
Are there any additions or corrections to that pre-sentence report?
No, Your Honor, I just want to make the court aware, Mrs. Addison, the deceased's wife, would have been here today to do victim impact. She had to go to the hospital yesterday. She's able to tune in, I believe, and watch us. The rest of Mr. Addison's family is here, and his mother is going to want to do victim impact at the end of sentencing.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Nichols. Any witnesses with regard to sentencing?
No additional witnesses, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Lewis, you may make argument.
Okay. Judge, of course, this was a very tragic situation that has affected a lot of people. The decedent, Mr. Addison, his family, as well as Mr. James and his family. It was a situation where, this was a combination of a long substance abuse history of Mr. James. The assessment that's provided in the PSI here says that there was about a 20-year relationship between Mr. James and different substances over a period of time. The one thing I can say is that once Mr. James went through this situation with this accident, he has been doing everything he can to try to better himself. He has got his high school diploma. He's was baptized and has definitely changed his ways in going to his faith and continuing in that regard. He's also got some different certifications that he was able to receive dealing with OSHA. I think it was Men's University, things of that nature to try to better himself, Judge. Now, it's no secret he does have a long criminal history. That even included dealing with PCP, which is the same substance that was involved in this accident. And as well as, other serious offenses. I do want to address something as far as, I know there's some situations here dealing with the jail instances, and I know how the court proceeds or looks at the situation here dealing with those. Mr. James, if you look at these situations, majority of them did come from situations involving him and other inmates, as far as any type of fight or anything like that, which unfortunately some things he can't avoid. But as far as anything dealing with being disrespectful or anything towards jail employees or things of that nature, there's one situation I think that they were talking about that it wasn't an actual write-up, but it was notated. He has been a trustee over there for a period of time at the jail as well. Now, I do want to point out that, of course, some of those situations that Mr. James was able to do to better himself, of course, could definitely increase his earning potential as far as what he has as far as his job situation. He does have significant family support. His brother is here today in the courtroom, who
This entire situation is just tragic on every level. You look at this man's criminal history, and it's a long list of bad decisions stacked on top of even worse ones. Yet somehow he's been repeatedly released back into society. That's what makes this so infuriating. He wasn't just a risk, he was a fully lit warning sign that no one wanted to acknowledge. The fact that he was still free to roam around and do as he pleased is honestly shocking, and the victim's family now has to live with the loss of a father, a husband, and a friend because the system didn't do its job when it mattered. What makes this case especially painful is how preventable it truly was. If the court had recognized the danger he posed, which was not exactly subtle, this man wouldn't have had the chance to drive under the influence and take someone's life. People talk about rehabilitation, but you can't rehabilitate someone who refuses to help themselves. And that's exactly what we're seeing here. A man who ignored every warning, every opportunity, every lifeline. He can earn as many certificates and degrees as he wants now, but nothing changes the reality of what he did. The worst part is that all the regret he's suddenly showing feels like it only surfaced once the consequences hit him. And that makes it hard to believe he's remorseful about the victim. He's remorseful about the situation he's now stuck in. It shouldn't take the worst possible outcome for people to wake up and realize they need to change. But for him, that moment came way too late, and now the damage is irreversible.
in any way is there to try to help him, including helping secure employment. My understanding is the plan, once he is able to be released, is for him to be moved to Houston, Harris County area, to be close to his brother, to help him with everything over there. Now PSI did have a recommendation for his different vehicles that support that's available to him through the probation department. What I will say is that everything that has been recommended, he definitely needs and will be better for him. We are not, and ourselves are not asking for a specific number or anything like that. We just want him to be able to, of course, make amends for this situation as much as possible, which could include some of the restitution there. I think is the amount is over $100,000 for his restitution there to the family. Now, like I said, he has made a plan to try to better himself. He has a family that supports him. He is doing everything he can. He understands that this was a tragic accident, but one he was definitely responsible for. And what we're asking for is as much leniency as possible from the court, for him to be able to move forward with the situation, be able to make amends as much as possible. And I think he did provide a letter to the court as well to kind of speak to that as far as an apology letter that was to the family, his family, the family of the victim, as well as to the court, Judge.
And I've received that.
And so that's what we're asking for today, Judge, is for everything to be considered. We understand this is, you can't bring that person back. You can't just go back to make amends with Mr. Addison, but he wants to try to make as much of amends he can to society and do better going forward, Judge.
Thank you, Mr. Lewis. Mr. Nichols.
Your Honor, I think any consideration to Mr. James's due was given when he got a 50-year cap. I have no hesitation asking the court to exercise the full 50 years. This case is one of the worst intoxication manslaughters. It's on video where he plows into Mr. Addison, who's at a stoplight on a motorcycle, and while trying to get away, runs over him and the motorcycle again. It's horrific, Your Honor. What is also just inconceivable to me is that a man who's on parole for several possessions of phencyclidine, PCP, finds himself behind the wheel on PCP again. And this time it ends in the death of somebody. His criminal history is extensive. It starts with minor drug offenses, then a conviction for aggravated robbery, and then I believe it's 5 drug convictions all at the same time in 2020, for which he was quickly paroled out and on parole when this happened. The fact that he gets to make plans in his mind for a day he's set free, I find rather offensive, and I think the Addison family finds offensive. They lost a son, a brother, a husband. There's nothing we can do in this courtroom makes that better.
This man should not get a single ounce of leniency, period. His attorney is doing what every defense attorney does, trying to get the best possible outcome for their client, but that doesn't mean the client deserves it. You don't get to beg for mercy after ignoring every warning sign life handed you. He had countless chances to get clean, to get treatment, to stop before he killed someone, and he wasted every single one of them. When you take someone's life because of your own reckless decisions, you lose the privilege of asking for special treatment. And honestly, if he truly wanted to show he was sorry, he would have walked in, pled guilty, and accepted whatever the state handed him. That's what accountability looks like. But instead, he's here trying to shave years off the sentence he earned through his own decisions. And let's be blunt, he's lucky the cap is only 50 years. Many states would have hit him with life without parole, and no one would have argued it. If you take a life, the fairest consequence is spending the rest of yours behind bars. Especially when you weren't some first-time offender. You were a walking red flag with a criminal past longer than the docket sheet. And then trying to flee the scene after killing someone? That told the judge everything they needed to know. The man deserves the full 50, and honestly, society is safer for it.
And sometimes the justice system is a poor substitute for what people lost. I think the best we can do at this point is this man spend 50 years in prison where he cannot hurt anybody else due to his own selfish decisions, and continued use of substances. It's in the pre-sentence report. He minimizes his own addiction, his own dependency. He even claimed he did not know how he could have gotten PCP in his system the day this happened, that maybe he touched a bottle and it transferred through his skin, and I find that reprehensible, Your Honor. And that's why I'm asking the court for that full 50 years.
All right, thank you. So, Mr. James, a couple of things that Mr. Nichols didn't say that I think are also extremely important is this isn't your first driving while intoxicated. This is your third. And so you didn't learn in 2006. You didn't learn in 2017. 2017, you got your second DWI. You were given probation. It was revoked. I appreciate that you entered a plea of guilty because for myself and for the family, I'm glad we didn't have to see what it looks like this would look like on a video because it is just horrible. And the fact that you are truly saying that you think you touched something and got PCP when you have had PCP cases over and over and over again, and you're on parole for possession of a controlled substance and you kill someone. It's a nightmare. Sure, go ahead.
Can I say something? You know, that night that accident happened, I've been clean the entire time I was on parole. Okay, now I stopped off at a friend's house and gave him some advice about what he was doing. And during that time, I did contact a bottle of his. You know, I was not high at that time at all.
It was in your system.
Yes, ma'am. And you know how I fight you.
At this time, based on your history, based on the nature of this offense, I'm going to find that you entered your plea of guilty freely and voluntarily. I'm going to find sufficient evidence to find you guilty, and at this time find you guilty of intoxication manslaughter. I'm going to sentence you to a term of 50 years in the institutional division of the Texas Department of Correction. There will be a deadly weapon finding based on the indictment alleges a deadly weapon. You will receive credit on this sentence for any time that you've been in custody that the law gives you the right to receive. I'm going to hand you the trial court certification that shows this was an agreement and I followed it, and so you've waived your right to appeal. I have also handed you a written admonishment regarding your ineligibility to possess a firearm or ammunition. Because of the judgment entered against you, you're ineligible under Texas law to possess a firearm or ammunition. Possession of a firearm or ammunition could lead to charges against you. Firearm is a legal term, and you should read the written admonishment I provided you to see what devices qualify as a firearm. If you have questions about the laws that make you ineligible to possess a firearm or ammunition, or about how long that lasts, you can talk with Mr. Lewis. There's really so many other things I could say about how horrible this is, and rarely am I out of words, but I really don't have the words to say what a tragic circumstances based on your behavior this led to. Y'all can have a seat at council table for the victim impact statement, and we'll go off the record.
Is he really trying to tell the court that the PCP in his system came from simply touching a bottle? Come on, it was in your system, and you've been down this road more times than anyone can count. There's no amount of excuses that's going to make anyone believe that story, not the judge, not the courtroom, not a single person watching this. And honestly, he wasn't getting a shred of sympathy anyways, because his actions spoke louder than anything he could say. The judge handed him 50 years, and that was absolutely the right call. His selfish decisions and complete disregard for human life left a family shattered forever. And while he's responsible for what he did, it's hard not to look at the system too and wonder how someone with this many DWIs, drug cases, and violent incidents was still walking free. When someone's record looks like a warning label, maybe that's a sign they shouldn't be out risking other people's lives. But here's the real question: how many preventable tragedies slip through the cracks before the system finally changes? Let me know down below. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one.